Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime Symbol, and today I'm going to be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto Was the King of Curses, Sukuna. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new series What If Naruto Was an immortal that went to the world of gods over an Anime King 2. And I hope you guys enjoy. Soon enough a new What If will be coming up. I got the votes of the polls. So yeah, stay tuned for that. In this week, yes. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode begin now guys. So, the last spot we left off, Kabuto almost lost his life, thinking that it was a good idea to sneak into Naruto's house, which was a terrible mistake. However, Naruto was waiting back for the Snake Man accomplice, and he gave Kabuto 5 seconds to speak. The word Orochimaru saved Kabuto's life, as Naruto was about to split his throat. He then proceeded to explain, believing that Naruto would be smart enough to understand the rest, which he did. So with that, the time passed by. Jiraiya came to Hiruzen as he told him that Naruto was a decent person inside. However, it was just the treatment and the way he developed to protect himself. Of course, all of that was nonsense. Naruto was making Jiraiya think that he was on his side, but in truth, Naruto didn't give a damn about Jiraiya or anyone else. What he was truly after was the seal on his cage. Yes, there was a seal on him, and he wanted it to go away. And he believed that Jiraiya had it. However, he later found out that the Toads were the one that had it. So he would have to go there and erase every single one of them. Yes, that is what he will have to do. As for the Sannin, Jiraiya told Hiruzen that he could get the kid back on their side. He just needed time to make him trust him. Hiruzen reluctantly agreed, believing that if anyone could, Jiraiya could do it. So with that, the time finally came. The place was buzzing with activity. It was time for them to fight. Naruto did not watch any of the other fights, as he found them to be nothing but a huge waste of time. When his name was finally called, everyone was prepared. Hiruzen wanted to see what Naruto was truly capable of now. Gaara made his way down there as well, as the both of them squared off against each other. It did not take too long for them to start a battle. The both of them having sadistic natures, their fight was a deadly one. Both of them trying to gut each other. The sensation that Naruto felt, something was inside of Gaara that belonged to him, and he would like to know what it was exactly. As they fought, it was clear that Naruto was faster and stronger than Gaara by a lot, and his more sadistic nature to gut someone was making the fight a lot more bloody. Naruto ended up shoving his hand through Gaara, but it wasn't going through flesh. Instead, he gripped into something. Shikaku was terrified as he realized who this person was. The only person that could retrieve that finger. However, it was not possible. His father had made sure of that. His father, which was a sage of Six Paths. However, Naruto ripped out something out of Gaara. That is when the invasion started. Orochimaru feared that this boy might kill Gaara, who was a big part of his plan. It was a finger that Naruto ripped out. He proceeded to swallow said finger as 10 chains were on his body. One of them exploded, freeing up a lot of his power. Naruto power spread through the entire elemental nation. It spread like chaos around the place. The white-haired woman, Urame, sensed it. She took off running. She couldn't believe it. How was this possible? Her master, he was free. It made no sense as she moved as fastly as she could to arrive towards the location. While that was going on, Naruto was becoming more powerful. The invasion started. Sakura jumped down there. As in her mind, yes, Naruto was an ass, but he was still her comrade. She started to talk to him and asked him what was wrong, that they had to work together to... She was cut off as Naruto tear her throat clean out with his claws. Ino saw it and screamed, causing the others to look down there. Kakashi leaped down there with vengeance in his eyes to what Naruto just did. Naruto released a flame that obliterated everything, forcing all of them to jump back. With that, he rushed towards where the massive dome was. Arriving there, Naruto shoved his coated hands right through it. He tore the veil. The Sound 4 was shocked as Naruto came inside. He almost decapitated the third, but Hiruzen was able to move quickly on his feet. Orochimaru was shocked how he was here. That is when Hiruzen realized that Naruto wasn't just bad. He was downright evil. He had no choice but to stop him right here and now, as Naruto attacked Hiruzen, along with the first and second. However, despite that, the old man was still able to hold his own, until Naruto slashed Enma, causing it to revert back to its normal form, sending it back to the summoning realm. Naruto was not done as he got Hiruzen. Because of the man's weakened state, Hiruzen tried to suck out his soul, using the Reaper of Death. However, the Reaper could not take Naruto's soul. It was strange. Even Orochimaru was shocked by that. Whatever Naruto was, he wasn't exactly human, and it was showing right there and then. As Naruto proceeded to tear Hiruzen a new one, the man started to choke on his own blood. Hiruzen was forced to release him as Naruto started to physically beat the man down until nothing was left. Hiruzen took his final breath as Naruto looked in his eyes, smiling as he did. He turned toward the Sannin Orochimaru bloody. However, he collapsed. The Shinigami, whatever it did, it took a toll on his body, and he collapsed. Orochimaru saw that the invasion was a failure, as Jiraiya was able to subdue Shikaku, so he had no choice but to flee. He picked up Naruto off the ground, as the Sound 4 dropped the barrier. With that, they ran out of there. Sometime later, Jiraiya was on the roof, tears in his eyes, as his sensei was dead. The Anvus filled him in on what Naruto did, as Naruto was the one to kill the third Hokage. He could not believe it. Here he thought he was getting through to the boy, but it was all just an act, a plan that he was using. Jiraiya felt defeated as he looked down. Ino was still crying as she watched her best friend, despite their rivalry. Sakura was dead. Kakashi was just gazing towards the heavens as he could not believe it. Sasuke had still been in the infirmary because of what had happened, so he was unaware of any of this. So yeah guys, so basically that's what left off. You guys can switch across and play check out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode, guys. The clouds were dark over the Hidden Leaf village. Many were dressed in black, as they were there to mourn the loss of their loved ones in this recent attack. A crying couple was standing to the side, their beloved daughter taken away from them. They were not the only ones. Ino Yamanaka was being consoled by Choji and Shikamaru, their parents not too far off. Sakura had been slaughtered in the attack. However, the thing that was most shocking was it was not one of the enemies, but someone that was supposed to be a comrade. Sasuke stood there. There was an unreadable expression cast over his face. In truth, Sasuke did not know what to think. Waking up to finding what happened was a shocker for him, yes. Sakura, she did not mean much to him, but he did not despise or hate her. In fact, because of Naruto's antics, the both of them had become a bit closer, as they understood what it meant to have someone like Naruto on their team, a complete jackass. However, it turns out that his words and the way he spoke was not just because of his personality. He was someone that truly wanted to hurt them, given that he had killed Sakura without a shred of mercy. Over to the far side was Kakashi Hatake. He could not even face her parents. He failed to stop one of his own students from killing another. He knew from day one that Naruto was a problem. However, they still decided to go through with the exams, and he was in support just to get this over with quickly after its talk with the Hokage who was no longer here. However, he saw someone that he actually taught, someone that he tried to fix and correct, slaughter another on his own team. He was gone now. Kurenai had spoken to him after the preliminaries and told him that that boy did not have the will of fire. He did not understand what it meant to be a ninja of Konoha. He was a selfish, evil child. Kakashi did what he normally did and just blow it off even though he knew inside. Glancing up towards the heavens, he made a silent prayer of apology to Minato and Kushina. Because the next time he see Naruto, he would have to put him down for the sake of this very world. Because that boy's heart was tainted with nothing but pure darkness. A darkness that had spiraled out of control and could not be contained. And for the sake of everything, Kakashi would have to put him down. He's seen it before in the boy's eyes. That look, the way he spoke. Kakashi released a heavy breath. For now though, all they could do was mourn for those who they had lost. The biggest thing was that Naruto was the one to have slaughtered Hiruzen Sarutobi. The Anvus who were there had witnessed what had happened, and word was spreading fast. Majority of the people already hated him because of his previous actions, but now everyone was out for his blood. They wanted him dead. Yes, the hate for him has spiraled out of control. Kakashi only had one remaining student, someone that already had vengeance in his heart. He did not even know if he could save this one. Team 7 was a disaster from the beginning, and it seems it would be a disaster in the end. He thought to himself. A distance off, leaning against a wooden pole, was none other than the great Galen, Jiraiya. However, at the moment he was not feeling so great. It was his fault. He had promised Hiruzen that he could fix Naruto to give him another chance. Hiruzen was thinking about withdrawing Naruto from the final exams because the child was becoming more unstable, but he told him in their conversation that he could fix him, he could help. Despite Hiruzen wanting to go ahead with it, it was his fault as well for suggesting that the boy was just messed up from his treatments. But he never knew. But he now blamed himself. Yes, he did. Two Anvus flicker in front of him as he glanced up towards them. Meanwhile that was going on, the white-haired Urami was within Konoha, as she was pretending to be nothing but a normal civilian. She was dressed in all black, trying to understand what was going on. Because of the recent attack, it was rather easy to get in. One thought it might be hard, but there was no chakra coming from her. She could not be sensed like a normal person. Well, It was simple, she wasn't normal. And this body was not a fighting type. So suppressing herself was rather easy, as she was overhearing the conversations. As the people started to break away, she went around gathering intel. This Naruto individual seemed to be the big talk of the town. Some hours later, she got a lot of information. It turns out this Naruto had went on a killing spree. He killed his own comrade before killing the Hokage of this village. Most of them spoke about his personality, which was psychotic. The way they spoke about him, it made her remember her master Sukuna. But if that was the case, why would he be pretending to be this Naruto? And why would he be in this village? Given the last time that she had an encounter with him, this world would be bowing at its knees, worshipping him as their god. So she wasn't quite sure what was going on. However, she had to find this Naruto individual because the power that she had sensed, the cursed energy, it was still ripe within the village. However, the user was not here. However, she will try to track it as best as possible and locate it, because the only person that had cursed energy like that was her master. And if he really was here, she had to find him. Meanwhile, his eyes slowly opened as he was lying on a bed. Glancing to his left, the only thing in the room was a nightstand, the table there and the chair, and a little lamp. Nothing else. He took his feet off the bed as he rested them on the floor. He pulled himself up. Checking over himself, he seemed to be fine. His memories was fresh. He didn't know what happened, but he blacked out for some reason. After feeling that swell of energy being pulled out of him, if he had to say, that creature seemed like it wanted to suck out his soul. There was no joke about it. It seems like the old man was able to summon an harbinger of death, a Shinigami. He had no idea how he knew these things, but he knew the creature wanted to suck out his soul, but for some reason it failed. That leads more mystery to what was truly inside of him. And what was he? He raised his hand. The decks and tables split in half. A smile was on his face. Ever since he got that finger that somehow boosts his power from the other Jinchuriki, he felt a lot stronger. However, for some reason it felt like it belonged to him, like it was always his. Not to mention, he looked at his body but they were now gone, as he did not see the marks. Walking up to the door, he kicked it off the hinges as it slammed into the opposite wall. Two heads poked inside as Naruto saw two ninjas standing there. The both of them looked rather surprised as Naruto grinned. Time skip. Orochimaru heard something as he turned his gaze. The door was kicked open. Walking inside was a shirtless Naruto, looking over said room. Orochimaru turned his full gaze towards the boy, who simply stood there, a calculated look on his face. Someone else was in the room but Naruto just did not give a damn. I must say, for a Sannin, your actions are rather pathetic. And what do you mean by that? Orochimaru said, his tone calm as ever, despite the disrespect. The third Hokage is now dead, and yet you ran away from Konoha, like a slippery little snake that you are. So, my words are correct about your cowardly action. I thought I would have woken up to the village, being in ruins, and fire all over. But instead you decide to run. What was the point of the invasion if you did not carry through with your plan? How much of a pansy are you? Said Naruto. He did not get to say another word as something was launched right towards his face. Naruto reached up and caught the weapon. He was then kicked right into the wall. He broke through it and crashed into another wall. A pissed off Kimimaro was standing there. How dare this little insect spoke to his master this way? Orochimaru might have remained calm, but Kimimaro lost it the moment Naruto started to give his master a lip. Kimimaro stepped inside the room. Orochimaru did not say anything as he simply watched. A bone sword in hand, Naruto here was shadowing his face as he was looking down towards the ground. He then finally glanced up. And who the hell are you? That is not important, Kimimaro said. But you dare have the galls to disrespect my master like that. Kimimaro raised his blade. For that I shall end your life. Naruto merely laughed as Kimimaro rushed forward. However, the wall exploded behind the blonde as he got up. He grabbed the bone sword and pulled Kimimaro down. The speed that Kimimaro was going, it was an unfortunate one, as Naruto and his head collided. Kimimaro's skull was tough, but yet he felt his body staggering back as Naruto returned the favor and kicked him away. He bounced across the pavement and the wall as he crashed hard. Naruto looked down towards his hands, enjoying this new level of strength. A wicked grin came on his face. The whole building started to shake as he started to release curse energy. He stepped outside of the broken wall, the grin on his face of one of death and chaos. Kimimaro got up. His chakra started to leak out of him like a faucet. Several bones started to grow all over him. As Naruto lowered himself, both hands at his side, the both of them were about to move off until Orochimaru stepped right in the center. Enough, he said. Kimimaro obeyed instantly, but Naruto was not one to obey. Orochimaru turned the full weight of his killer intent on Naruto. However, Naruto retaliates. The two forces clashed against one another. However, Orochimaru's killer intent was able to bypass Naruto's. Naruto looked up with a snarl on his face. Orochimaru had a grin on his face after putting the boy in his place to show him that he might be strong. But he was not ready for someone like him. He would slaughter him without even thinking. Now listen to me very careful, Naruto-kun, he said, his words coming out sweet and slippery. The invasion failing is not your concern right now, but for the time being, you shall be here, working for me, being under my control. I know you're a loose cannon, however, I am the one in charge here. So the next time you approach and speak to me, mind your tongue, or else I'll tear it out of your skull. Orochimaru said in a super sick sweet smile. Do we understand one another, he said. However, to his surprise, Naruto's eyes curved up, just like one Kakashi Hatake. He was smiling back, I smile. Perfectly, said Naruto. The Sannin knew that was as fake as anything that he's ever seen before. Now, he said, if you're going to work for me, there's a few things that you're gonna have to do first. After all, if you want to stay by my side and become strong, so when we take Konoha once again, it will fall to our knees. Why, sure thing, Orochimaru-sama, said Naruto. I'll do whatever you say. The Sannin knew that it was fake. However, he would make it go on for now. But the boy would soon learn that he was the one in charge, and nothing would change that. Orochimaru was unaware of the thoughts and images running through Naruto's mind at the moment. However, he knew that he was not strong enough to defeat Orochimaru. But he will be soon enough. Oh yes, he will be. And when that time comes, the smile on Naruto's face stretched a bit more, in pure happiness and glee. Time skip. Jiraiya had just refused the position of Hokage. He had someone better in mind, someone that would be better for the position. There was no doubt about it, and besides, He had to be out there, as he also had to find Naruto. They came to a decision that they would not do anything until the new Hokage is selected. Yes, they would have the power to keep the village running and that, but in terms of making it public that Naruto Uzumaki was wanted by Konoha with a high bounty on his head, that would not be placed until the village get their new Hokage. So for now, what they were focusing on was rebuilding and sending ninjas out on missions so they could gather more income for the village. They've already spoken to the daimyo, who would be getting back to them very soon. For now, the council was in charge of everything. At the moment, sitting by himself on a bench was Sasuke Uchiha. As he was just thinking about everything so far, he still had no idea how exactly he should feel about Sakura's death. Yes, he was angry that Naruto did something like that. However, what could he do? The blonde was no longer within the village, and he was now an enemy of the village. He started to think about his own situation. With Naruto becoming a missing nin, it made him think about Itachi. He fought Neji within the exams, and the best he could do was pass out after his match. He even felt a curse mark on his neck. It had activated in the last part of the match. That meant he did not rely on his power alone. Kakashi has been trying to beat it into his skull that using the curse mark was going to bring him more harm than good. However, that was not all. While he was inside of the hospital, he had woken up. He believed that this was before the chaos started outside. There was a ninja standing there. However, it wasn't any ninja of this village. Sasuke had not told anyone, but the man had told him that if he'd seek to gain the power to kill his older brother, he need to come to Lord Orochimaru. The words were ingrained in his head. Konoha was not offering him anything that he needed, and he needed to get strong very quickly. And the words were still coursing through his mind right now. With the Sannin, Orochimaru had a smile on his face. He had sent Kabuto to influence young Sasuke on coming over to his side, and the Uchiha was becoming more and more susceptible to joining him. That brought a happy smile on the Sannin's face. Soon enough he will get what he wanted. Yes, very soon. He had to say it for himself. Naruto Uzumaki was immensely strong and powerful, and there was no doubt about it. With training, the boy could become a perfect killing machine. There was no doubt about that. Having a killing machine on his side under his control would be wonderful to use against the Akatsuki when they eventually collide in the future. Orochimaru's smile was getting wider and wider. Meanwhile, that was going on at the Hidden Leaf. Danzo Shimura was pissed off. He knew the boy was trouble from day one. However, he never expected the boy to turn against Konoha in this way. Killing Hiruzen was a big deal. However, Danzo was pleased to hear that. He was so close to becoming the goddamn Hokage, and then the Sannin, Shikaku, they were against him. Shikaku had already nominated for Jiraiya to take the position because of the lineage passed down from him being Hiruzen's student and the best suited for the job. When Jiraiya had refused, Danzo thought that he had it in the bag. That was until he brought up that damn woman. And now they were thinking about it. He was given 1 month to try and find her. They couldn't put it off for any longer. Danzo had thrown his hat into the ring. So he has to make sure that Tsunade is never found. As much as he hated to eliminate one of Konoha's great assets, it had to be done for the safety of the village future. He had to take the position now. A worthless drunk like that would just put the village in ruins. She had wasted her life and her time. She could have been something wonderful. However, she turned out to be nothing but a disappointment to the Senju name. Danzo raised his hand as a man appeared in front of him bowing. Gather the special assassination force. At once, the man nodded as he vanished off. He was going to send them to kill Senju Tsunade. He can't afford for her to return back to the village. She is going to have to die. Her Senju blood would come a long way for his research as well. However, despite her lacking over the past couple of years, he knew that she was not someone to be taken lightly. He's gonna send the best that he has. Because this can't afford to be a failed mission. Not at all. And Jiraiya and no one else must know about this. Meanwhile that was going on, a confrontation was starting up. Why don't you mate me? I don't care what anyone told you. You're not the boss of me. I don't do as you say. And I don't listen to you. The only way that's gonna happen is if you beat me right here and now. And I promise you, that's not a possibility. Because I would rip that head from behind you and feed it to you. Naruto said with a dark glint in his eye. Tell you why I had to say, she liked this new one. He was such a violent, dark individual. And she liked his attitude a lot. At the moment, him and Seikon were not agreeing. Seikon was the leader of the team when Kimimaro was not around. The Sound 4 was originally the Sound 5. And Seikon was used to people listening to him. Even Teiwaya, despite her attitude, listened to what he says. As the hand of Seikon twitched, as Naruto's grin seemed to widen even more. Go on. Take a swing. I dare you, he said. Seikon was about to do something until the peacekeeper of the group, Jurubo, stepped forward. Now come on, guys. There must be a reason why Orochimaru-sama sent him with us to retrieve this item. We have to work together. Starting a fight right now will anger Orochimaru-sama. Is that truly what we want? Stay out of this, fat ass, said Naruto. Hey, you know I'm trying to help, right? Said Jurubo. Yeah, I know. And I don't give a damn. So shut your trap and stay out of this. Laughter could be heard as it was coming from Teiwaya. Jurubo snapped his glare towards her. Is that funny? Yeah, it is, fat ass, she said, laughing some more. Seikon took a breath as he seemed to calm down somewhat. Fine. Do the hell what you want, but get in our way and we'll kill you, he said. Am I supposed to be afraid of your stupid statements? You're not strong enough to do so. If you were, maybe you would be a threat to me, but I assure you, I can kill each and every one of you without breaking a sweat. It seems the new guy has a bigger mouth than you, Teiwaya. Kidomaru finally spoke up. Well, at least I'm not some six-armed freak, said Naruto. Kidomaru snapped his gaze towards him. Now listen up. I'll knock your head right off your body. Or seal that mouth shut for you. Why don't you go ahead and try? I dare you. Any single one of you. Naruto wanted to show these people that he did not see them as an equal or a threat. Orochimaru might have sent them on this little mission to gather something. However, the Sannin was just trying to prove to Naruto that he was superior, that he can tell him what to do. Naruto was allowing this to go on for the time being. Until he was ready, he was going to murder every single one of them. And he was going to set the hidden sound to blaze. Every instant, everyone there, he was going to enjoy reveling in their blood. One by one they shall all fall. And it's going to be fun. That's enough, Seikon spoke up. Let's just get this over with. And hope that Orochimaru-sama does not peer us with this buffoon ever again. They expected Naruto to respond to them. Even Teiwaya expected a response, but she did not get one. All she saw was him smiling. However, it was not a happy smile. For some reason, she felt a chill went down her spine. At the moment they were heading towards a location, they were actually hunting down someone. Orochimaru had worked with someone in the past. Orochimaru had funded his research. He provided money and also, well, experiments that he could use. The man had developed a regeneration cure, something that would be able to help Kimimaro. Orochimaru wanted his strong allies at his side. Kimimaro would prove to be someone that he could use in the future at his side. So was Guren as well. However, Kimimaro had a disease. Orochimaru believed that this could cure him. However, the man had fled. He did not want to share his greatest findings with the Sannin, despite Orochimaru being the one that was funding it. Orochimaru was finally able to get information about him, and he sent the Sound 4. He sent Naruto along as well. The reason being, he wanted to show Naruto that he was in charge. It was a basic master tactic to show you're lesser, that you were the one calling the shots and they were the one working for you. Naruto's attitude was becoming a problem. It shows because he did not give a damn about most people and he do what he pleased. So with that, the group traveled until they were tired. Naruto was not much tired, but they were the ones with the information because he pissed off the leader earlier. He would not tell him where the place was. Naruto was threatened to just rip it out of his skull, but that was just gonna cause more problem. So he proceeded to just calm himself as he was lying, looking up at the heavens when someone approached. You know, if you keep on running your mouth like that, someone's gonna shut it for you, she said. As Naruto glanced towards her from the corner of his eye. Did you come here to tell me that you are going to be that person? Actually, I like it, she said. Not giving a crap about what people say and saying what you want. That's kind of my forte. Well, you and I are different, said Naruto. And how so? I can back up what I say. You on the other hand, you look rather easy to kill. A kunai was thrown right towards his head as it stabbed right into the ground next to him. He did not even flinch in the slightest. That's exactly what I mean, said Naruto. You did that to warn me. Me on the other hand. Naruto vanished and appeared in front of her. She was able to jump out of the way. The ground cracked under the force. I would have just cracked your skull clean open, he said. She stood there and realized that what he said was truthful. Because if she had not moved, her head would have been burst open by that hit as she looked down towards the ground. I get it. You're one psychotic bastard, aren't you? She said to him. Nah, I'm not psychotic. I just love what I do, he said to her. And I don't give a damn about anyone or how they feel about it. Meanwhile, that was going on. Urame was making her way through the foliage. It did not take too long for two ninjas, sound ninjas to be quite exact, to leap down towards the opposite side of her. Now tell me, one of them said, what's a beautiful girl like you doing out here, all alone? I'm looking for someone, she said. Would you mind giving me some information? Of course. And who exactly are you looking for? The one to the right said, getting closer to her. His name is Naruto. Would you mind telling me where he is? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know any Naruto, so is there anything else I could... The man did not get to finish. Both men were frozen solid in ice. She walked by them as they shattered into pieces. As she kept on walking. Time skip. The group arrived, as the five of them were situated in a tree at the edge of the forest. What the hell is this? Kidomaru said. It's an isolated town, with the funding and everything that our Lord has pumped into him. I think that you must be joking, said Teiwaya. That shithole decided to take over a town, or perhaps create one, she said. Well, the only way to find out is to enter, said Jirobo. That is when they noticed an oddly lack of arrogance. They turned as they realized that Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Shit, where the hell is he? As they quickly made their way off, they arrived to see a man. His head was plastered in the ground. Brain matter and blood splattered everywhere. As Naruto was cleaning his hand of blood on the man's shirt. Well, our target is inside. It seems like he's made quite a name for himself. He is the mayor of this town. They worship him like some kind of god. He has this magical elixir that can cure some rather deadly disease. I presume this is what Orochimaru wanted. Seikon eye twitched at that. He spoke Orochimaru's name with no respect. However, he did not want to get into another argument. Yes, he said. Don't worry then, I'll handle this. I'll simply take what he has created. And what do you mean by that? Shit for brains. Teiwaya said. As Naruto turned towards her with a grin. I'll burn it all down, he said. He then ran forward. Jirobo blinked as he looked at the others. You don't think that he's gonna... A scream could be heard. A blood-curdling scream. Yeah, I think he's gonna. Seikon rushed forward, causing the others to move forward as well. This guy is not normal, is he? Kidomaru said. Yeah, he's not. Because he's one psychotic bastard, said Teiwaya. As they all made their way towards the village, the first thing they came across was two guards. Their armor was torn clean through. Their bodies were ripped and torn, blood pouring out of almost everywhere on them. Children, the elderly, bodies were littering the ground in a path of pure destruction. Houses were collapsing and burning. In a matter of seconds, he was able to eviscerate quarter of the town. They heard psychotic laughter as they followed it. They came across gore and disgust. Despite the things that they've done in the past, they've never done something like this, and it actually made their stomach turn. The place was starting to get a foul odor. This was just inhumane. Yes, Orochimaru experimented on people, but that was to satisfy his own curiosity. But this Naruto individual, he did not see people as someone that was on his level. He saw them as pawns, puppets that he could toy with and dispose of later. They came across several headless corpses as they moved through the town. They heard a crash as they saw the largest building. A massive hole was inside of it. It had burned clear through. Meanwhile, in that center building, the man was around 6'1". He was pretty tall, brown hair. His coat was stained in blood. As he started to back away in fear, he finally arrived to what he wanted and stomped his hand on the ground. There was a button there that he pressed. Suddenly, the Naruto who was walking forward got captured inside of a strange cylinder box that had quickly came out of the floor. Naruto looked around. Do you really think this is going to hold me? I have no idea who you are, the man said. But just as I heal, I destroy. And you're going to suffer the most horrendous death that is known to man. I will watch as your insides burn and leak through your eye sockets. I'll make you suffer for what you did to my town. That is when the Sound 4 came inside. As Naruto stood there, any closer and I kill him. Go ahead, Seikon said. We don't give a damn about him. Of course they don't. I hate their guts. If it was up to me, I would kill them where they stand, said Naruto. So why don't you go ahead and kill me? The man pressed down even harder as smoke started to fill the container that Naruto was inside of. Immediately Naruto started to cough and wheeze as he dropped down to his knees. He started to puke up blood as his insides were being destroyed. The man picked up himself as he started to reach for something until laughter could be heard. Looking back inside, blood was leaking from his eyes, nose and mouth, and yet he was laughing uncontrollably in a sadistic manner. Move, Seikon said. He was right to say that as they jumped away. The whole glass container exploded outwards, allowing the gas to funnel through the air. As Naruto stepped out of it, "What? This is not possible. I've tested that over and over again. You... What are you?" he said. "I'm not sure myself, but it seems your pathetic gas could not end my life." Naruto walked forward. "Now, you're gonna tell me where is this elixir. Otherwise..." That is when Naruto heard something. As he glanced over towards the wall, he walked towards it. The man started to shout, "No, I'll tell you where it is." Naruto tore open the safety hatch that was there. Standing there was a small girl. She was no older than 8 years old, and a woman who was her mother. The girl looked like the man that Naruto was holding on to. "I'll tell you, just don't hurt them. Please," he begged. "Fine, show it to me," said Naruto. The man rushed to underneath his decks. As he proceeded to uncover something that was buried deep, he had to move something else from above it. He pulled out a vial with red liquid inside. That's all that you need. It's all I have left. Please, just take it and go. I'm begging you." Naruto smiled at him. "You did a good thing. And now I can leave. And leave your family safe." Naruto started to walk away. As the man was crying in joy that they would be fine, he started to walk towards them until something waved past him. The next moment, something was placed in his palm. The man screamed and dropped what he was holding on to, which was his daughter's head. As Naruto stood there as he tossed the body through the window, the man dropped to his knees, the wife rushing out in fear, not knowing what to do as she went after the body. That was until Naruto had tear through her chest, after bursting through her back. He then proceeded to push his other hand through and tore her in half. The man puked, tears pouring out of his eyes as he kept on puking. He looked up as Naruto boot was going to squash his skull. That was until a kick slammed into Naruto's chest. The vial was pulled out of his hand. The man was chopped in the back of the neck by Seikon, who held him by his coat that he was wearing. Orochimaru-sama wanted him alive. He said to Naruto, who was implanted in the wall. Naruto slowly picked himself up. Fire started to appear in both of his palms. As it started to gather, the heat was becoming unbearable. So much so that Seikon had to step back, sweat running down his face. However, Naruto pointed his hand out to the city, said "Fire, fire" from his palm. It exploded in the center. Seikon leaped away as Naruto jumped up in the air. His psychotic laughter rained through as he started to burn everything in his wake. He plunged the city into pure fire. Nothing was left. No human was left. He slaughtered them all. When he was done, the place was still burning. As he walked out, the entire Sound 4 was looking at him. They were in shock, as Naruto's smile was still on his face. "You should have been there. It was a wonderful show," he said. "Now we can get going." His body was still coated in blood, his nails mostly, and his bare chest, as he was not wearing a shirt, just his black pants. They looked at one another. Not even they had seen such cruelty before. This was just not normal, and the reason why he did it. There was absolutely none. He just enjoyed causing chaos. This person was a true monster, if there was any. Yes, he was a monster. Someone like this should be destroyed, Seikon thought. He really need to speak to Lord Orochimaru about this boy. He might be the downfall of even Lord Orochimaru if he's not placed in check or killed outright. as he did not trust this boy in the slightest. Time skip. Orochimaru received the report, and he was not surprised. He seen it in Naruto's eyes. This boy seems like he was bathed in the bowels of hell itself. There was no doubt about that. He was a being of death, chaos. Orochimaru did not know or understand his unique energy, but it was not chakra. It might seem like chakra, but it was far more deadly. The boy was an oddity. He was wondering if he should just experiment on him to find out what make him tick. Not to mention the 9 tails inside of him. The boy was a true powerhouse. However, he needed him on his side. What's the point of having a weapon that might hurt you if it goes too ballistic? It does not make any sense. He needed to control him. Orochimaru need to find a way to control him. And he think that he has the right idea on how to do that. A grin came on the Sanin's face. Meanwhile, as Naruto had left the safety of the hidden compound, he was not gonna go too far. After all, he had no doubt in his mind that Konoha was hunting him. Yes, they probably want him back for him to face some trials or to punish him in some way for what he did. They were probably going to try to extract the 9 tails before they killed him. However, that's not possible because whatever was inside of him, he was sure that it was not the 9 tails. He did not know how he knew, but he was sure about it. It was not the 9 tails. Speaking of which, ever since he took that finger, perhaps something has changed. Sitting down as Naruto started to meditate. As he was meditating, the field around him started to dry up and die. The grass, the trees, the leaves started to fall off like it was raining. Whatever he was toxic to the very environment. Another reason why the Shinigami could not pull out his soul. That is if he even had one. Maybe. Well, he was not normal. Naruto found himself in a pitch black darkness once again. He noticed light up ahead as he walked. The more he walked, the more he feels something brushing against his skin, but he could not see what it was. It felt like bones. Yes, it felt like bones all around. Pushing past, he arrived towards the bars. However, they looked weaker. He didn't know why he could tell, but they looked far weaker than how they looked before. He placed his hands out. That is when that grey hand came out once again. However, now the black markings on it were more pronounced. As Naruto gripped the hand, the seals started to fight, the both of them to release one another. Something was different as Naruto felt the seal actively fighting him. He felt spasm of chakra running through his body. This chakra was not helping him, it was trying to stop him, electrocuting him from the inside. However, he was used to far more worse pain, so he fought it, as he started to feel the cursed energy pouring into his system. That is when the person started to come into the light, and Naruto was going to see their face until he was blown away. 2 chains had slammed into his chest and threw him across the room. Naruto snapped open his eyes in the real world. What the hell? He said. Inside of his mindscape, a voice spoke. Within the darkness, I had to. We can't afford to let him do that. Another voice spoke. I know. We just can't afford to let him know that we're here. Otherwise. The voice that spoke next sounded apologetic. I know, but I had to do something. It's alright. It doesn't seem like he's going to enter once again. For now, all we have to do is to keep him away until the time is right. That is when the both of them, the 2 speakers, noticed a gaze that they were receiving from the bars. Those eyes watching them carefully. However, it was not just 2 eyes. It was 4. 4 eyes were watching them. giving them a very dangerous look, like the person wanted to rip them to pieces. In the outside world, Naruto was not sure what the hell that was. However, whatever it is, he looked down towards his chest. The markings of what hit him was there. It came out in reality. He was going to venture inside once again until he felt something. Something cold. Something familiar. Naruto made his way off to find out what exactly was this feeling. Meanwhile that was going on, Jiraiya of the Sannin was having no luck finding Tsunade Senju. He was having absolutely no luck so far. She was nowhere to be seen. He just recently got information, but she was not where he thought she would be. He had to find her. Damn it, he had to. Meanwhile, Tsunade Senju had a strange feeling. She did not know why, but all of a sudden, her instinct was telling her to leave this place. Years of being on the battlefield, she's learned to trust her instinct. Glancing over, Shizune had fallen asleep right beside her, and they were currently in a bar. The poor girl had been tired from running around all day. Tsunade nudged her awake. Shizune got up as she looked around. Calm down, Shizune. It's time that we leave. Shizune yawned, as she was unaware of the danger coming their way. A distance away, several ninjas clad in all black and face masks were making their way. An assault group, a very dangerous group, with a lot of manpower to slaughter one, Senju Tsunade. Danzo had made sure to keep an ear out in the world. Thus, it was not that hard to find out where she was. He was going to make sure that she never returned back to the village. Yes, she would never return. As Tsunade went on the move, they did not know the exact location, but the area, the scope of the area is where they're going to be searching from. Meanwhile that was going on, the organization known as the Akatsuki was currently gathered, discussing recent events. The leader of said organization spoke. Rumors are that the Nine-Tailed host was able to kill Hiruzen Sarutobi and fled the village. Sorcery Spy Network was coming in handy in these times to give them information. As the leader spoke to his people, shocked looks was on majority of their faces. I thought he was a kid. A shark man spoke up, with beady eyes. He is. Well, that's damn impressive. Jinchuriki are not to be able to kill someone like Hiruzen Sarutobi, the one they call the Professor, and also the God of Shinobi, after the first Hokage. I must say I'm impressed. We're the ones that are going after the Nine Tails. I truly want to meet this kid. Where is he now? I do not know the exact location of where he's located. A hunched over man spoke. However, there has been some sightings of a boy dripping with blood, with blonde hair that matched his features. I received not too long ago. We shall gather more intel on him before making a move, the leader spoke. Despite his age, Hiruzen Sarutobi was a very powerful man, so this child might be a lot more dangerous than they thought. He had to find out who and what he is capable of before sending his members in. The Akatsuki was not that large already. Having two of the powerfulest killed right away would be a big blow to the organization, and the leader wouldn't allow that. That is why he's having this meeting with this small group of the members to discuss further action, because the Nine-Tailed was their target. Meanwhile, Naruto arrived as he saw two sound ninjas frozen. Yes, another one was frozen in mid-air, that making it 3. A woman with white hair stood there. She snapped her gaze up the moment she saw him as she raised her hand, thinking that he was a Another so ninja. However, the ice that was coming towards him stopped. When she looked at him and she couldn't believe it, she could see the energy flowing from him. She stepped forward. She didn't know how she was just sensing it. Master? That caused Naruto to raise an eyebrow. But guys, if you end episode right here, if you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we begin this new episode starts? Now guys, what am I saying? Let's get the hell out of here. Peace.